Hotelier on the Grill.
Good afternoon, this is Stuart J. Raj, and we're here for Hotelier on the Grill with a very experienced hotelier here at the Four Seasons in Bangkok, recording on the 22nd of November 2013. So rather than me introduce you, would you be able to quickly introduce yourself?
All right, yes. So my name is Vincent Hoogewijs. It's a Dutch-sounding family name or surname, and I'm actually from Belgium. I'm from the good side of Belgium, so the Flemish side, but have been traveling for the past 27 years, or traveling and working in this fascinating business. I started off my career with Hyatt, moved on to work for a little bit with Banyan Tree, then rejoined Hyatt. And today I'm happily married with Four Seasons for the last 9 years.
Wonderful. So standard Hotelier on the Grill questions, 12 questions. Questions are the same for everybody. So we'll jump straight into the first question. Where did you first cut your teeth?
I originally wanted to be a chef. That was my dream. That was my passion. And I still enjoy cooking. So on a day off, you will find me in the kitchen. So I went to hotel school in Belgium, in Kokzijde, at the Belgian coast, and then did some apprenticeships in some of the restaurants. And then my parents thought, that I should continue to study a little bit more. And I agreed, and I went to a hotel management school, still in Brussels. And there really I started to appreciate also the hotel side, or the hoteling, rather than the food and beverage thing. And I started working at the Hyatt Regency in Brussels. First job in the hotel was in the accounting side of a hotel. I was cost controller. Mm-hmm. Stayed there for 6 months, but then I had to do my military service. I went to do my military service, serve my country for a year. And after that, then really my career took off, and I went to London. Looked for a job. I applied with all the big chains, and by accident I joined or rejoined Hyatt in London, which was then called the Carlton Tower Hotel, run by Hyatt, and started there as a waiter.
Wow.
Didn't speak that much English, pidgin English from school, and after 6 months, I think, as a waiter in the rib room, I was offered a traineeship, a management traineeship, and started off working for Hyatt for quite a few years from there on.
Wow. So that kind of leads on into the next question then. What was your first big break?
My first big break probably was that management traineeship that I was offered. So I was a waiter with the Hyatt Carlton Tower, and somehow the boss that I then had saw that probably I had a little bit of potential and offered me that traineeship, and I took that on with open arms, accepted it, and I was able, as a traineeship, you don't have that many responsibilities, but you're given an opportunity to work in many different departments of a hotel. So I took that on, and I worked my way through, did some stewarding, washing the dishes, did some banqueting, did some the mini bars, all the different facets of a food and beverage operation. So I think that was probably the first big break, but I think along your career, you need a few more breaks to make it successful.
Right. So, and you were mentioning that it's been 27 years now that you've been in this industry. Why were you able to make it to where you are now, where perhaps others have failed or not being able to make that?
Well, I think first of all, you need to enjoy what you do. And if you don't have the passion for the service industry, then you better stay home and become a shoemaker or do something else, or a banker. If you don't have the passion, and if you wake up in the morning and you feel like you don't want to work, you better probably stay home. So I've always enjoyed what I do, and I think that's first thing. Then I've always I did work hard, and not afraid of putting in, it's not about quantity of work, but you do a lot of hours in our industry. And so I've never shied away from that. And then I was at the right spot at the right time, probably, and was offered the opportunities, because it is a combination of everything. It's not I always tell our new recruits here in the hotel, you don't have to have a PhD to be a hotelier, but you have to have the passion. You have to be willing to work, learn, make mistakes, and have a little bit of luck.
Right. And I assume that you've probably had your ups and downs going through it. You have your good times and bad times. Could you tell us about your darkest moment in your career?
Yeah, my darkest moment is maybe when the first time that I left Hyatt. I was at a Hyatt Regency in Rabat in Morocco. And somehow, with all due respect for the Moroccan country, which is a beautiful country, I didn't enjoy working there at that time. I was still very young. I was 28. I was director of Food and Beverage. The culture didn't fit me. I didn't fit in the culture. It wasn't just the right place for me. And I decided to leave then Hyatt, for which I had worked for quite a few years by then. And suddenly an opportunity came up with Banyan Tree Hotels and Resorts to open their first resort here in Phuket in Thailand. And so I moved with my family from Phuket, from Rabat to Phuket.
And so in that time there, when you were feeling like that in Morocco, how did you get through it? How did you push through that?
I've been very fortunate. I've been married to the same lady for 25 years. So my wife has been very supportive all the time, and you work it through, and and it was painful, and I didn't enjoy it, but I knew that I couldn't just quit. So that's when I had luck, and then that opportunity came up out of nowhere. Probably with someone that I had worked before in the past, that's also worked for Banyan Tree, and he said, "Oh, we need a new director of food and beverage. Oh, let's call Vincent." So it's there is a lot of luck in our business as well.
Right. I think since meeting with you just now downstairs and up here, there's a lot of energy there. What drives you?
You need to enjoy what you do. I mean, it's like I mentioned before. It's our business is about people. It's about enjoyment. It's about eating, drinking, sleeping, having a good time. And if I'm not having a good time, how can I then offer to have a good time to my guests? So that's what it's all about. And I do enjoy, I don't like the fussy part of our business, but I do enjoy when I see people enjoying themselves.
Right. The fussy part?
The fussy part is that, when I go on holiday, I hardly stay in a hotel. I enjoy the camping. I enjoy roughing it out. I travel around India, not in 5-star hotels, but probably what you would call 2-star hotels. But I did enjoy that. And that to me is vacation, rather than staying in a plush hotel where everything is taken care of.
Right.
I like to rough it.
Right.
On my days off.
You've been in so many different places, different countries. Do you have a mentor, or have you had a mentor? And if so, who and why?
A real mentor over those 25 years in my career, like the one person, not really. But I think the education that my parents or my parents have been somehow mentors in my life, but there's no one that really stands out that has been guiding me throughout my life. I do have great support from in my current job with my superiors, who I see a little bit as a mentor. But I've had that. There's a few people in my career, but there's no one really standing out apart probably from my parents.
Okay. So could you tell us about one time or one event in your career that's made you proud?
Oh, there's been so many in a way, but the opening of the Banyan Tree in Phuket was, I think that hotel was probably really the first spa destination that existed in Thailand, and I'm talking about 19 or 18 years ago. Right. That is a very proud moment, and we had a great food and beverage operation there. Another proud moment was when I was at a New York Grill at the Park Hyatt in Tokyo, which to me is still one of my favorite hotels, although it doesn't belong to our brand. But it's a stunning hotel where we won with the restaurant New York Grill one of the major awards in Tokyo or in Japan. So that's probably also a great story in my career. That's probably the two.
Okay, wonderful. And as a GM and somebody who has a lot of people under you, what's the best advice that you could give to somebody looking at being a good GM?
I think stay normal. Don't think that you are God or that you are better than the rest of us. It is a job. Yes, you do take care. You are feeding probably a lot of families by being a leader of a hotel, but just stay with your 2 feet on the floor, and then today you have this great job, tomorrow I don't know, so stay grounded.
And so what's one thing that maybe GMs could get wrong or shouldn't get wrong as a GM?
In my opinion, in my humble opinion, is that maybe some GM thinks they are better than or stand above everyone else. I don't think so. So I have no problem assisting with carrying luggage or being part of the team or clearing tables or just it's not my job. I don't do this every day, but if the need is there, I have no issues in jumping in and assisting.
Okay, and this is the final question in the main hotel focused questions. If you weren't in the hotel industry, what would be your ideal alternate career?
Being a chef. No, not being a chef, but having an own restaurant or having your own business.
Right.
I think there's a lot of satisfaction that can be had as well by owning your own place. So if I wouldn't be a GM, I probably would have had some sort of a restaurant or bar or some sort.
Okay. That was very insightful and very enlightening. We have one last question, which is on a totally different tangent, but very interesting. And it's interesting to see the different responses. What's one app that you're using or you're hooked on at the moment, or that's grabbed your attention?
Actually, I just changed my phone, so there's not many apps on here. But the only one that I use a lot, I have to think. Let me just. I'm not such a tech use. Yes, I use technology because you have to in a way. But I use Scrabble a lot when I'm waiting on the plane. Maybe that's an app. But I'm not a app fanatic, so to speak. Yeah.
Okay, well there you have it. Scrabble is the the app mentioned by.
And it's not free. You have to pay $3.99.
There you go. $3.99 Scrabble. Thank you very much, Mr. Vincent Hoogewijs. It's been a pleasure meeting with you, and an honor also to hear your experience and learn about what it's taken to become a great hotelier here.
Thank you.
You've done. Thank you very much.
Hotelier on the Grill.